Hey everybody, welcome to Loading Ready Run Drafting Magic for Fun and Not Profit but Fun. Graham here, all by my lonesome this week. James is preparing for a work trip, so it's just me. And yes, it is Gate Crash, not Shadowmoor. It took a while for this to fire because everyone's playing the Shadowmoor drafts, and because we've got some things we need to take care of before this thing rotates, and one of them is Crackling Perimeter, and it's not here, which is really sad. So instead, I'm going to go with a suggestion that was given to us on the forums, actually on our Twitter, I'm sorry, which was a Pauper draft, meaning this rare here, much as I love it, these uncommons, nope, not even looking at them. We're going for commons only. It's the Pauper draft. And I'm going to take this Syndic of Tithes because I think he's neat. Kind of wish I'd taken that Drakewing Crisis now, but Spy is just fine. Death Approach is good. Just the Spy. Oh, just look at all these amazing rares we're passing. I think the Death Approach is probably fine here. Sure. So, in case it's not clear from the name, Pauper, Pauper, is a format wherein you can only play commons because they're cheap and you have no money because you are a pauper, as in the Prince and. And we don't think that Gate Crash would be amazing for a rare draft, which is why we haven't done one yet. So this is the complete opposite of that. And already from these first couple picks, we can tell that this would have been wouldn't have been the most amazing rare draft. We might have opportunity to record Shadowmoor before it cycles out. We don't know anything about that format, and I've watched a lot of people streaming it, and boy, there are some complexities to that we are just ill prepared for. Just before turning this on, I was actually watching like before our queue fired, I was actually watching someone stream, and they opened 2 Crackling Perimeters, and it's just not fair. It's just not fair. I want to make that happen so badly. Speaking of not fair, oh my goodness, rest of table, please pick your cards. There we go. Oof. All things I would like. It's odd that that's still there, but I think we'll just take this Griffin because he's a fine common. Griffin man. Well, the options in our colors have sort of gotten a little dry, so I think I'll take this Sage's Row Denizen over the Shadow Alley Denizen. I think Sage's Row is probably going to be better if we end up having to splash into that color. Ooh, that seems fun. Double Syndic. Double it up. Hopefully we don't have to run this guy. So certainly not drafting for value in this particular instance. Blockade, sure. A lot of gates going around too. I'm going to be super sad if there is a perimeter. Oh yeah, this is a common. You know, this draft might not have the critical critical comedic mass that our last one did, because that was goofy. That was exceptionally awful. I was very pleased that you all seemed to like it so much. Our pain and suffering. I worry sometimes. You know, because we want to be as entertaining as possible, and sometimes the drafts just collapse. Razor Tip Whip. You know me. I love the Razor Tip Whip. I think it's great. Aerial Maneuver or Millennial Gargoyle. I think we can take the Maneuver here. I guess I don't know what our ruling is on straight value drafting of crazy foil mythics or something. under the assumption, of course, that we would never play that card in this deck, because that's not the point. But opening, foil Obsidat or something would be pretty tough to pass up. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. I like that with the little draft table viewer at the side, that you can see. Oh, cool. Take the Guildgate. You can see people's pick numbers, so you can see it sort of flow around the table. Definitely play that. That gate. Ugh, gross. It wasn't good in our 23rd card deck, and it sure as hell isn't good here. Primal Visitation. Awful. All right. So there's a Devour Flesh, and there's a Kingpin's Pet. There's another Razor Tip Whip, but I think the Kingpin's Pet is pretty much the pick here, no question. Entertaining. I guess a second Assault Griffin seems all right. I mean, it's possible that we could take Hands of Binding and splash for it, but I'd rather not, and we have on-color cards that we can take instead. I mean, we don't anymore. Well, we've got the Zorichi Tiger or Midnight Recovery or something. Guildgate, Sprite. Maybe I just take a Prism. It seems reasonable. Ooh, delightful. Just the sort of thing I wanted to see. Possibly the better Extort 2-drop than the Syndic of Tithes. I know that when this came out, everyone was like, oh, Extort Bear, it's the best. But this guy can usually attack. Oh, darn it, look at that. I want it. I want it in my deck. But I can't. So I will take... Ugh. You know what, Jack Wang? Come on in. Time for a second round of Wang. Get in this deck. Well, in general, I like the way this is going, actually. Pauper seems like a pretty reasonable format. And that's really what's super important, I guess, if you're... I know you didn't come here for actual advice, but, rares you're only going to see every so often. Like, there's a certain number of rares, that you're only going to see a given rare once in however many drafts. But the commons and uncommons, those are the meat and potatoes, the delicious, tasty meat and potatoes of your decks. And so it's good to know where you stand with them. And I stand firmly with this Shadow Slice. I'd rather not run Jack Wang. I think I'll put him in the board. Sure, Griffin number 3. Why not? Good thing to put a Shadow Slice on. Get in for 9 if they're not expecting it. You'll note I haven't moved the Razor Tip Whip to the board yet. Ideally, I won't have to. It's not like Crackling Perimeter's rare either, but you'd think it was. So annoying. The full set spoiler is out for Dragon's Maze. And I don't want to take another 5-drop. But I don't know if I'm going to run a second aerial maneuver. I'll probably just take that, though. Anyway, the full spoiler is out. And, yeah. Sure. I just want to get in on the ground floor of nicknames. I'll take the Riot Gear, I guess. I don't want 2 Jack Wangs in our deck. The Zerta Druid. Second I saw him, I just said, it's the Rampinger. It's perfect. He's a little ramp. He's a little mana elf, little ramping guy, and he's a pinger. He's the Rampinger. Sometimes on our podcast, people ask us about our favorite nicknames from the sets. I don't have a good nickname for this guy, but I love that he's he looks like a total thug. He looks like a British street thug. He's got brass knuckles and a giant gold chain, and he's like, "Hey, you gonna pay your extortion?" Like, I love that he's got brass knuckles. I mean, ideally, we're not playing Midnight Recovery, though it could be good. We probably don't need Prophetic Prism if we're only in 2 colors, but we may find ourselves having to go the Demorzov route or Orzmir. I'm not sure which is better of a nickname there. Oh, well, speaking of mythics. God, it's like all the same commons. I guess there's this problem you have. This is the second Sunhome Guildmage we've opened. Yeah, like we've seen these cards go by a lot, actually. It's weird. Now that I'm really paying attention, like now that I'm sort of ignoring like this kind of area of these cards, the cards I'm paying attention to, I'm noticing that there's a lot that are the same. Like, do I really want a 4th Assault Griffin? Do I take this Gate? I think I just take Hands of Binding, just as like another option. Maybe I'll get a Dimir Guildgate or something. Well, this is just gross. Do I take the Halberdiers in case I get a Boros Guildgate, or just this Gargoyle? I guess just this Gargoyle, although 4 drops. Yeesh. Sure. We'll take a second absolutely need to be removed thing. This might come around. Who knows? Yeah. Sure. I don't know. I mean, this is cheaper. It's easier to extort. I don't know. Yeah, all right. We'll take the Edict. I don't have much in the way of really good removal, so this is when you absolutely positively need to just remove something from the game. You send it on a one-way trip to Angelic Edict Town. Oh. You know, sometimes, game, sometimes I think you mock me. All right, Death's Approach. Get in here. Death's Approach, total not combo with Angelic Edict. Like, I don't actually have any other removal, but all right. Their creatures are bound to hit the bin eventually. Apparently my sound is still on. Wow. It really is all the same cards again and again. It's fascinating. I'm going to take this Mugging, because that's really late for a Mugging, and I've already passed one. And, you know, maybe my Prophetic Prism gets me there. Another card I really want. Apparently no one else is in Orzhov. I think I'll take this Dutiful Thrall. He's cheap, he's a guy, he blocks all day long. I like him a lot better than the Slate Street Ruffian, because that guy's not really super useful, unless you're running the full discard deck, I think. I don't know if this is working. By which I mean I think it's actually working a little too well, if that makes sense. Like, I think this deck will be fine, but not amazing. but also not super hindered. But whoa, blarf. Tempted between these two here. Probably just want a creature. I don't think I'm that desperate to splash the Hands of Binding, so come on in. It's a 3-drop. It's a creature. Speaking of which, ooh, actually, I was going to say, speaking of 3-drop creatures, but another extortion guy would be great. So then I don't have any weird splashes either. In fact, I get to make a cut here. Ooh, bonus. All right. I guess I got a whip. You know me. You know me in whips. The card. The card. Just to be clear. I guess I'll take the Shielded Passage, just in case. I hope I haven't accidentally taken uncommon and just realized it. I don't think so. I think I've been pretty good about this. Nope. Wow. Yeah. All right, we may have to board into the triple whip. The Whipple. Oh, I'm going to take this Urban Evolution, just because I like it. It was our preview card. There you go, the only uncommon I picked, just because I'm not running anything out of that pack. Really? And a guy. All right. A guy I could theoretically run, and an on-color card. So our deck looks like this. We've got 2 Edicts, and we've got 2 Death's Approaches. That's our removal, and they're removals that absolutely do not work together. We've got 5 guys with Extort. That seems pretty good. We've got Syndic, Screecher, Pet, Enforcer. We've got a Denizen and a bunch of white creatures to combo with that. We've got... Are we running this Midnight Recovery? I don't know that we are. Maybe it is better to run not super interesting Slate Street Ruffian just as a 3-drop over Midnight Recovery that we might not even want. Do we need that Prophetic Prism? Not especially, because we don't need to fix our mana. So, do we run another Aerial Maneuver? Or perhaps another Razor Tip Whip? Yeah. The third one's right here. It's just taunting me now. You know, Millennial Gargoyle's kind of boring. Yeah. Triple Whipples. Let's do it. All right. Well, Triple Whip Pauper. A nice dollop of triple whipped Pauper. Let's see how it goes in round 1.